Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I filmed a green and gold holiday inspired look with a dramatic wing. If you'd like to see how to achieve this look, please keep watching. For this look, I used the MAC Fix Plus as a primer, and then I used the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation in the shade Ivory. I buffed that into my face using a rounded kabuki brush. Then I took my Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Light Warm and applied that underneath my eyes, down the bridge of my nose, the center of my forehead, and any other area that needed a bit of brightening. Then blended that using a beauty blender and a little bit of Fix Plus. Next, I used my Bye Bye Pores setting powder to set the concealer. It's important not to skip this step because if you don't set your concealer, you'll end up creasing and nobody wants to crease. Then I took my Rimmel Stay Matte powder in the shade 001 and set the rest of my foundation. For my brows, I didn't change anything up. I used my Anastasia Dip Brow in the shade Chocolate and just used that to fill them in and give them the shape that I like. Next, I used a little bit of concealer and a small angled brush to carve out the bottom and tops of my brows to give them a more defined look. Then I took my MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly and used that to prime my eyelids for eyeshadow. Moving on to my eyes, I'm taking the Morphe 35W palette and I'm using the first beige tan color as a transition shade for my look. Then I took the warm taupe shade and used that to further define the crease. Next, I took the deeper chocolatey brown color and used that to further define the crease. I focused it more towards the outer V of the eye rather than blending it up and outwards like I did with the first two colors. Then I took my Urban Decay Vice palette and the shade Blitz, which was a greenish gold, and I applied that to the center of the lid using MAC Fix Plus and a small shader brush. This was a very pigmented color, so I needed the MAC Fix Plus in order to really set that color and make it as vibrant as I needed it to be. Then I just blended everything together to make sure there were no harsh lines. I decided I wanted to drag that color down a little bit, so I also placed it in the corner of my eye as well as a tiny bit on the lower lash line. Next, I took the shade Junkie, which was a mix between an emerald green and like a teal kind of color, and I placed that along the lower lash line using a small pencil brush. I then picked up a little more of that Junkie color and used a small blending brush in order to drag the color down and smoke it out a little bit. I then took a little bit more of the color and brought it up into the outer V of the eye, and I added a little bit of the shade Desperation, which was a dark gray color, in order to help blend the green and the brown together. Without picking up any more product, I then blended it together and brushed away the fallout with my powder brush, and then I rocked out a little bit. For the inner corner highlight, I used ColourPop's Stole the Show highlighter, and I just applied that using a small detailed brush. I thought it would be a good idea to zoom in on me doing my eyeliner, but then realized the whole thing was out of frame, so I'm really sorry about that. Next, I applied Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara to the top and bottom lashes. You can totally add false lashes to this look. I did that in my practice run, but for whatever reason I didn't feel like using them today. To warm up my face, I used the Lorac Tantalizer Baked Bronzer, and that's a really pretty shimmery bronze color. It's not orange, and it's my first time using it, and I have to say that I really, really like it so far. Next, I took MAC Warm Soul, which I'm almost out of, and I ran that over my cheekbones for a nice rosy glow. For highlight, I used the Mary Luminizer highlighter, and I ran it over the tops of my cheekbones, down the center of my nose, and a couple other areas that I wanted to be highlighted. For some reason, my camera cut out when I was putting my lipstick on, but I used the shade Cream Cup from MAC, and then I sprayed my face with Fix Plus, and here is the finished look. I thought this was a really fun holiday look, and I'm really glad I got to share it with you guys. Thanks! Bye guys!